Join us for an enlightening experience where you will gain a deeper understanding of the purpose and essence of opening your eyes. This is your chance to enhance self-awareness and personal growth with a shift in perception that provides a fresh outlook on life. Embrace the journey from consciousness to superconsciousness by Barrett Kunyan.
Here we are again, and we have the most beautiful lady in the world. Her name is Sabina. Sabina, it's an honor to have you back the Bioactivator platform, and it truly is exciting to be. I'm excited to be in your beautiful presence. May I ask how are you feeling today?
I am feeling extraordinary. Just the fact that I'm in your space and I have another opportunity to share, that is such a gift, and I feel truly honored to be here. Thank you.
So you and I, we decided to have an interesting title, a beautiful, stimulating conversation, and it's to do with leading from within. The title being The Power of Heart-Centered Leadership. Wow. The power of heart-centered leadership. Wow, that's really, really exciting. Now, on the 3rd of February, you sent me an interesting note, and I would like to, if with your beautiful permission, like to read your note to me to do with this heart leadership. You put down that true leadership is leading from the heart, leading from within instead of leading over. It is instinctual, trusting in the unknown and being open to what wants to emerge. A heart-centered leader can be with what's uncomfortable because he or she has learned to become comfortable in the uncomfortable instead of reacting or avoiding or denying. How about becoming curious about everything? A truly empowered leader can agree to disagree. When you learn to be truly present with the other, you will develop these real eyes that there are no other. That's the moment walls come down and the heart opens. That's when you reach people on a profound, subtle level. A heart-centered leader is capable of letting things happen organically. Pushing, forcing, and resisting will only lead to suffering. One who surrenders to life's divine unfolding will enter a whole new level of personal power, which is the ultimate grace. Well, that's really juicy stuff. So thank you so much. And that really sets a beautiful theme for our discussion today. So having looked at this material, I sort of thought to myself, well, let's get into the dynamics of this information that you've placed here. And so what we did, we've devised some questions, and I call it the 5 juicy questions. And if you're comfortable, which I think you are, let me present the first one that came to me. What does it mean to you to lead from within rather than lead over? So I'll repeat that question again. What does it mean to you to lead from within rather than lead over? Can you elaborate on that for our beautiful listeners? Hello,
Yes,
sweetie.
thank you. So, what it means for me is, first of all, trusting. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, that's knowingness that we all are leaders. We all have leadership capabilities because it starts by being the leader of your life, first of all. And most people are not aware that they are leaders. They actually turn into followers, looking what others doing and just listening to others. So first it starts realizing you are the leader of you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about becoming the best version of you and trusting that actually it's within you. The leadership qualities within you, it just might have been dormant, or it might show up in a way it's actually old paradigm leadership. And old paradigm leadership is leading over others. Someone is on the top, someone, the other person below, and there's a hierarchy, but this
Yeah.
kind of leadership is old. This is no longer here in the new earth. This is no longer really working. It's not empowering at all for no one.
Yeah.
So we never lead over others. We lead by being the inspiration. We lead by being a role model. We lead by showing others what's actually possible. And we lead by inspiring others into their highest. So we are here, we lead from within with trusting that we always guided, and we trusting the guidance of the heart, because our heart will always give us signs if we in alignment with our true self or we out of alignment. And that requires, learning first of all, trusting your intuition. Trusting, when you really learn to listen and to go within, you will be guided. And it's also, trusting your imagination really, because by when we imagine others in a higher version, when we can raise their standards by seeing them not in the small version that they're showing you. You imagine them as a higher version of themselves, and that allows them to step up into the higher version of themselves, and we see them differently. So that is it's a big piece, like being trusting the intuition, also imagination and inspiration. Like I said before, being the inspiration and inspiring others.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, this intuition business is remarkable, but we'll come back to that later on. I was going to say, how can curiosity transform the way we face discomfort and challenges? So my question is, having read your notes, how can curiosity transform the way we face discomfort and challenges?
Yes, that's a great, it's actually also a paradigm shift. Instead of immediately limiting something or resisting something, let's just become curious. Let's just look at everything without having a preconceived notion, having an idea already about something. Because when we become curious, it opens your mind. You become really open-minded. And by doing that, you can actually start to see maybe things from a different perspective that you wouldn't have thought about before, because you already had an opinion about something. You already had, you know, we all have filters. We see the world through a filter. We see it through our filter. But when we become curious, you're actually unveiling these filters. You were taking them off, and you start to see things from a bigger perspective, from a different angle. And I say childlike curiosity. Children, they're not afraid. They're just they try things, they explore this and that, and they're just so, open to everything. And we have become so conditioned, so often brainwashed. And this is about washing the brain, getting rid of this, cleaning the brain in a positive way. Let's just become curious. Let's just open and explore.
Yeah.
And that, you become like a different person, because you no longer live in this small box. You're actually stepping outside the box. And
Yeah.
then I realized, oh, there's actually no box. I thought there was a box because
Yeah.
everyone has the box. And it's like stepping out of the box of conventional and ordinary. And you step into the extraordinary. And that's when life becomes juicy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've had great footage from yourself, because you're a great advocate for this. Because I'm I just love your material when it's so heart-centered when you're speaking, and obviously I see yourself expressing yourself in the snow as well, and it's just amazing how you're putting yourself out there. It's evoking the senses to become more receptive. Well, I can only share how you're affecting me, and I'm sure I might be speaking to quite a few viewers out there who also feel that way inclined as well. But well done to you. You're just a great ambassador for this. You're very transformative because of the curiosity and the audacity you have to provoke and to crack this box kind of illusionary, stagnated way of viewing life. You're very open, heart-centered. Thank you for that. Yeah, no, I think
Yes,
that's
and
beautiful.
I just want to add something because you mentioned the cold. Yeah, and that is one of these examples because I moved into the mountains in the forest about 10 years ago, and the winters can be very intense. And my idea was I don't like the cold. I hate the cold. I don't want to go outside. So I started to almost get to a really low point of feeling depressed about the winter. And I thought, how
Yeah,
can I make the winter more interesting? How can I get out of this idea I don't like it? And how can I become friends with the cold? And I
yeah.
started to do barefoot walking in the cold,
Wow,
on ice, on snow. And I started to cold plunging even. And I
wow,
experienced the most natural highs I ever had. And suddenly
brilliant.
something opened up. I got out of this belief, I don't like the cold. The cold is annoying. And becoming really, how can I work with the cold? How can I make the best out of it and become curious? So now
Yeah,
I do like unusual things, go in my bikini in the snow, roll around naked in the snow. I do sometimes cold plunging, but I walk barefoot every
yeah,
day. And
yeah.
just every morning I go for a run and I do my breath work barefoot in the snow. So I do certain things in order to become friends with the cold and just
Mm.
explore the cold in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. I mean, you do have this tendency of this incredible youthfulness that you present to our viewers. But if we are, let's say, more of a senior citizen of our planet, should we be a little bit, so let's say we're in our 70s or even 80s, should we be more weary of the snow and cold, especially
I
if we haven't, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it has to do with age. It's
yeah,
more, what you see is possible. If you think, oh, I'm 70, it's too late. It's not appropriate for my age. We want to
yeah,
also get rid of what's appropriate for the age. And you
yeah,
start where you are. Maybe it's time just to go like 30 seconds in the snow. How does it feel? Or you put the snow when it's fresh in the face. It's actually a great face mask. And it
yeah,
strengthens the skin, it plumps up the skin. It's actually a beauty ritual. So you can start doing little things, but we want to get out of the idea at a certain age, things are no longer appropriate. Like,
mm,
there's this thing, a woman can't wear a mini skirt once she's in the 50s, or no longer the bikini once you this. No, who says so?
yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. I
Program
mean,
that runs.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're very daring, I must say. I mean, the thing is, like, it's the level of conditionality that's gone into the makeup of things.
Mhm.
There's a stigma attached to all this, and I'm all for breaking the ice, and yeah, absolutely. And you're an amazing advocate for this because we see you doing it day in, day out. So, yeah, thank you very much for answering that question of curiosity transforms the way we deal with our discomforts. And we're raising the game, it's
Yes,
that's
and being childlike. You mentioned it last time, being childlike again. And
yeah,
playful, do something you would maybe not usually don't do, and something that most people would never do, but do it anyway, see what happens. Because
mm,
I know every time I step beyond the boundary of what's so-called appropriate, I felt more open, more free, more liberated from all the ideas that are out there. And
yeah,
you always a choice how you live your life. Who says it's inappropriate? Who says you're too old? Who says you're too much of this, too much of that, not enough of this, not enough of that? Who says so? This is just a program. We got to get rid of the programs and we create our own empowering programs. I can do this because I choose to.
Yeah, no, that's really empowering, Sabina, because you've actually pushed me to the frontiers as well. Because who says that you have to be because I just taken up singing, and I enjoy it because it's so uplifting. So you're never too young, you're never too old to sing.
Absolutely.
Each moment is precious, and you seize the opportunity. As long as you're not breaking the peace, of course, but I'm joking. I mean, our beautiful Katrina, she likes to sing, but I'm sure she'll do a demo later. I have another question, if I may. In your view, what makes courage an essential trait for heart-centered leadership? I shall repeat the question. In your view, what makes courage an essential trait for heart-centered leadership?
That's a great question. And well, it has multiple, I think, levels to it. But courage, first of all, is being able to face the uncomfortable, to face the darkness within and darkness outside, and to learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, meaning to face your inner demons, face, whatever your fears, face the pain, face all the stuff that we don't really like, and learning to be comfortable in it by loving yourself with the uncomfortable, and learning to move through it as gracefully as possible. And that requires, sometimes we got to take risks.
Yeah.
Sometimes we got to jump in unknown territory and we don't know what the outcome will be. But that courage comes by trusting also, I'm going to do this. And yes, it's a risk. Yes, it's a little scary. And I know I'm not comfortable doing this, but I'm trusting in it. And then moving through it as gracefully as possible. So as a leader, we have to have courageous. We got to take risks. We have to expand. We have to step out of the ordinary and do things that the ordinary people will not do. That sets you apart. And that's when you really step into powerful leadership. And you become inspiring to others, and others see, oh, she did that. Maybe it's possible for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you're going to set new frontiers, if you're going to set new standards, then you have to walk your talk and be courageous. And of course, you make a risk assessment because you know how you're affecting the atmosphere. And like, if you're not causing harm, your intention is not to cause harm. You're not going out your way to be spiteful. So your intention is to love ultimately, and to lift the morale. And you're bringing, the ingredients are tantalizing, to say the least. You're getting people, you're evoking people's senses to be curious, which people begin to liven up. They become more alive, shall we say. That can be only very, very positive, I must say. That's
Most people are afraid to take risks because they're afraid of failure, but then realizing there is no failure. When we take a risk, maybe things that don't turn out the way we thought, there's simply a lesson here. And it's trusting, there's always a lesson here.
Do you think it's also sometimes, do you think if you're trying something relatively new, it's good to be honest and sincere with people and say, look, I'm a pioneer in developing new forms of leadership skills, and with the way we're interacting, I'd like feedback from you. because I'd like to encourage you to be more independent than just to keep on depending on me all the time to be in your to be in your company, because it's all about igniting people to become leaders, right? It's not about people always leading on you. It's like if you develop aspects where people can in it's called job enlargement, and the way they rotate around the work so that they can have uh, understanding of the mechanics of how certain things work. And so you give them that curiosity. If, let's say, someone's working in the kitchen and you're running a restaurant, so you give them the opportunity to do other aspects of work. You could rotate them around so that they become more empathetic towards, the socio-economical, and as well as the psyche of the place, so that they understand how things operate. So you give them the opportunity to flourish in other areas. And
Exactly. Because as a true leader, we want to inspire others to step into their leadership.
yeah, yeah,
Not just to create followers or just give them orders, tell them what to do. That's not leadership.
no,
As a true leader, you encourage others to try different things, to become curious, to take risks, to be open to challenges. And then you can always course correct when you do something and said, oh, it didn't work out. Okay, what do I need to do differently? But we always here to inspire others to become the leader in what they're doing so they can raise their standards.
it's very gratifying when you see this craft really developing and stepping up in gears, because it's upliftment. You see people getting themselves into their elements,
Yes,
and that is a phenomenal byproduct. You get biofeedback, which is very energizing, and that's the real intrinsic value of anything and everything we do as a form of exchange. So
absolutely. There's nothing more more rewarding and fulfilling to see someone actually step up into something
mm,
they wouldn't have done it only because you provided the space or you gave them some ideas and inspiration, and they stepped up, and suddenly you see them opening and blossoming.
absolutely. Yeah, my next question, if I may, how does the realization that there is no other shift the way we connect with people? So how does the realization that there there is no other shift the way we connect with people? Do you understand the question, or do I need to? How
Yes.
does the realization that there is no other shift the way we connect with other people?
Yeah, that is a big concept. It took me I heard this many years ago as part of a mentorship program I was part of. And first it took me quite a while to really get it. It was like, how come there's the other? Of course there's other. But we all, we live in this world where it's all about you and the others. It's all about separation. We have been since childhood divided, into this and that, and the whole work, when you really look, everything is about separating people. And that's where most of the issues come from, because we believe we are different than the other. When we believe we're different, there's immediately some kind of contraction in the body because it's the other. But once you really get there is no other, everyone is here to point the mirror at you, to show you something about you that you might not see or you haven't even considered yet. And when you actually see this, you embrace life as one great teaching, one great initiation. Because everyone who even those who challenging you, they're just giving you a gift to show you something about you. And then
Yeah,
there's no one thing afraid of the other. This is really you. Just here the mirror is out there. We live in the great hall of mirrors where
yeah,
everyone is here to teach something. And there's always an opportunity in any relationship, especially the difficult ones. And those people that trigger you, these are your true teachers. and they're always pointing out something within you that still needs refinement. There's some polishing needs to be done when we get triggered. Here's a part of me, there's still a wound within me because I get triggered by that person. What do I need to do to heal that wound, to do some polishing of these pieces of us? They still need so-called, work, or you can call it polishing and refinement.
Yeah. I think the word we're looking for here as well that encompasses all that you say is the word empathy, because you're
Yes,
empathizing with
exactly.
people.
Because when you see everyone as the others, you actually have compassion with someone who gets mad at you and calls you an idiot. You actually don't
Absolutely.
feel like you have to fight back. You actually have compassion for that person and wonder, is that person okay? How
Yeah.
can I be in the most
Yeah.
loving state to not act,
Yeah. Yeah.
act
Yeah.
back? You don't become
Yeah.
reactionary, you become a person of compassion, knowing this
Yeah.
is simply your brother and your sister who's wounded, who's projecting the pain onto you. And how can you provide the space
Yeah.
for that person and you to have a
Mhm.
calm and grounded interaction without needing to fight or getting triggered by each other?
Yeah, I mean, I can bring the word curiosity into this play now, because I've always been I was a salesman for a while, and it was quite interesting because I was always curious to find. I was a car salesman for a while. I loved doing. I did it for a year, and I can bring a lot of invaluable formulas that was absolutely amazing in terms of like people being in a space where they didn't feel threatened by my leadership skills in trying to sell you or persuade you. I don't use persuasion to do anything. I use good public relations for me to be curious to find out what information you possess in terms of what knowledge you have about the product you're about to purchase. I'm always intrigued by knowing how much information you've gathered, because the interesting thing is that a lot of people at the time, we're going back many years, they used to say things like, if I give you cash, will you give me a discount? And I would say to people, why would you give up your cash for an item that's going to fast depreciate very quickly? Because this isn't a great investment you're making. Why do you want to put all your hard earned money into this when you can borrow money, or at times we were doing 0% finance, where the depreciation value would be far less than the interest you'll be paying? Because if it's 0% interest, you'd be crazy not to take the opportunity. Because think about it, they do wonderful. So what I'm saying, not so many words, I put because I'm doing value building questions. So I'm the prospective individual. Ultimately, I'm trying to save them time, money, and energy in understanding what it is that they understand. And being a value builder, one classic example that defines it all. Why do you want a 5 door opposed to a 3 door? Because if I put you into a 3 door opposed to a 5 door, I've saved you £1,000. So it's like understanding, being a value builder, understanding exactly, do you know what you really want? So it's getting quite deep into the rabbit hole, and I think that's part of the empathy. It's also part of having that leadership skills
Yeah,
where you get heart centered and want to save money for the person and energy. And why not? If you want people to get the maximum from what
exactly.
they
Instead
put in.
of thinking, what can I get out of this person? How can I make the most money out of that person? How can I provide the best part for them? So it
Yeah,
serves them at their highest and the best
yeah,
offering.
and that's authenticity at its best, really. When you've got you genuinely want the best for the individual, and it can be fruitful. I mean, it can be fruitful for both parties. You don't have to be too capitalistic about it, like one person has to lose, another person has to gain. It can be win-win for both parties, and you can both come out smiling and invigorated and happy, whatever you, if it's a service you're providing, or
Yeah, but at the
it's
end, there's an energy exchange taking place. You give your energy, your highest energy, and This is like a cycle, like feedback cycle.
Absolutely, and it's a form of upliftment, isn't it? It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So at the end, you feel good about the interaction, about the car you sold them, and they feel good as well. So there's this beautiful mutual energy exchange happening. Yes.
well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I remember many years ago, Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know if you know this individual from the BBC Top Gear. He I was selling Italian cars, and at the time, the best all-round Alfa Romeo was the 156 2-liter Veloce engine, twin spark, whatever. The thing is, I saw the car he came in, and it was a Renault Clio, and it had everything you could, and the performance of the Renault was far more superior than this Alfa Romeo. But because he was like, bless Jeremy Clarkson, he's quite knowledgeable about cars, but I didn't think that this was the car for him. So I had a lot of time for him to put him into the 2.5 V6 version opposed to the standard 4-cylinder one, because he was convinced that it was this particular model he wanted. But I put him into the 6-cylinder version, and he was so over the moon. He was so excited that I
Yeah.
had the time to demonstrate for him, because you know, I take pride in what I do. I want the person to be really happy, in knowing that he made the informed choice, that he
Yeah.
was able to compare and contrast several different models to get the feel good factor of really knowing. Because seeing and driving and being in that position does all the talking as far as we're concerned. So I'm
That
this kind of,
that is
yeah,
really great leadership, because you have a higher vision for your client than they actually have. And this goes whether you sell a car or a service, you have the higher vision. You can see something that the client might not be able to see, because they're locked to a certain way of being and way of seeing things. But you were able to have the higher vision for them and then get them
well,
enrolled into what's best for them. And that's how they thrive and you thrive.
exactly. And I set a new trend, because my I was getting a lot of testimonials, like people, satisfied customers saying that Barrett's not pushy. He's not trying to sell me anything. In fact, he made me feel really relaxed. He
Mhm.
had all the time in the world for us. So it's like you're creating a non-hostile atmosphere where people can come out and chill. But one thing I did also save time for myself as well, because a lot of people were failing on finance. So rather than me spending hours, because I spent an awful lot of time with the client, going through different models, different shades of color, and really going home to town. But then when it came to filling in the application, they would fail on finance. So I would say, is it okay we do the financial checks before we go into a 4-hour demonstration? Because I don't want to waste your time and get your aspirations and get you really excited about buying this car, and then you're not in a position to purchase it. So I would say, so you kind of perfect your craft in knowing, the sort of questions you need to be asking the prospective purchaser. And this comes with experience, obviously, or the leadership skills, because if they come and I'm creating an atmosphere where I'm going to inspire others to learn the craft, you can save time as well. Because I don't believe in competition. I don't believe that
No.
this hierarchy. I think that's why humanity is driven to a lot of sicknesses, because of this lack of understanding of what competition is. So
Yeah,
and
it's
you are
about
as well.
the
Yeah.
competition. Like, we live in this world, we have to constantly compare ourselves with others. It's about comparing and competing, and that is not heart-centered leadership, you know.
No,
And
not
there's
at all.
always comes from a place of either
Well,
inferiority or superiority.
the old system. Let me define the old system how it used to be. let's say the average employee has 5 complexes. Okay, so you come for an interview, you get the job, and you come knowing that you've got 5 complexes. Let me define loyalty to the old system, how it used to work. So you got these 5 complexes. They will help you with these 4 complexes so that the loyalty is keeping one in your pocket. Because if you give all 5, they will learn the trade, they will learn the art of knowing and learning, and they will go somewhere else. Maybe they will go and start their own business and put you out of because of the competition aspect. But it doesn't work like that anymore. I genuinely believe that a great spiritual way of leading people is by example.
Yeah.
Because in your company, how do people feel? They feel uplifted. And for me, it's all about giving the tools to people so that they become true to themselves and they become a good role model for others as well. And not so that people become victims or they're in that survival mode attitude. It's all about thriving now. We're living in this world, this new shift, this new paradigm where our interactions all about raising the game for everyone, not lowering, and that's all diminishing now, and that's why we come together, yourself and others into this platform, because we're creating a beautiful atmosphere that raise the consciousness, not lowers the consciousness. I
Exactly.
have
At the end, it's all, you mentioned that being part of a team. At the end, it's all about energy, because every piece on the team, whether even it's the cleaning lady or whatever part of the team of a company, every single piece is important. In the end, it's all about energy. You want the energy to flow, and that's why it's critical to get everyone inspired, get everyone feel they're important to contribute to the whole thing. You're not just an employee doing a job to get paid. You're part of that whole the team, and teamwork makes the dream work. This is a beautiful quote. So
absolutely.
making everyone in the company, everyone on the team important, and give them some kind of task where they can step up and show up in their highest. And that will make everyone feel important. They're actually contributing to the whole. And that's how we raise the energy, we raise the frequency. And that's how we create other leaders.
Absolutely. Do you know what team stands for? TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. So
Yes, that's beautiful.
that's
Only
yeah,
together we will rise. It's not just about the one on the top rises, it's everyone rises. That is
yeah,
the new paradigm of leadership.
yeah. No, it's very, very powerful. Thank you very much for that. I have a last question here, if I may, and that one is, what role does surrender play in unlocking true personal power and grace? I'll repeat the question. What role does surrender play in unlocking true personal power and grace?
So that's an amazing question. Yeah, I have to think for a moment, but what came up for me was surrender is really in those times where the going gets rough and tough, which is in any team. There will be challenge. There will be times it can be so-called difficult, and that is the moment to really surrender and trusting that the perfect outcome, the perfect, let's say, ideas and the perfect steps, they will become, you will be guided towards, instead of contracting, going into panic mode or into drama or into say, oh my God, why is this happening, victim mode. That is the moment to surrender. Okay, all I can do is surrender and trusting I will be guided towards the next step, and learning to be calm and centered amidst whatever is happening. That is another skill of leadership, learning to be, in your still point. No matter how tough it gets, no matter if anything breaks down, the whole is like chaos, you still be calm and centered and grounded and at peace, because only from such a place will creativity emerge. Only from such a place will you find a solution. And there's always a solution, no matter how dark it might look and no matter how crazy the situation might be. But when we go into contraction, there is no creativity, is actually stunned in that moment or halted. So we want to always be open to creativity, let creativity come in, new ideas. And sometimes we got to do changes when all hell breaks loose and the shit hits the fan. That's maybe the moment to say, okay, maybe we have to take a different approach. Maybe we have to do something that needs to be changed. And that's the surrender part, learning to surrender to life. Life is always guiding us and teaching us.
No, that's very, very powerful. Is there is there certain modalities that you could recommend as well? I've finished with the questions that I felt necessary to ask you, but just to add another one, if I may, is there certain modalities that you could use to harness and to improve the performance of a great leader, so that you are in a place where you can tailor make, because no two beings are the same, because everyone has a unique frequency. Because one of the things that I was pretty good at managing people is you could see the mood that people are when they come to work. Sometimes people bring their emotions to work. So what kind of an atmosphere are you going to create in order to neutralize a level of toxicity that they may be bringing to work, whether it's hostility, whether it's competition, whether it's anger, friction? Because I always used relaxation therapies that I brought into the motivation aspect of things. I do a lot of mudras and things as well for relaxation and things, breathing exercises. So when I went to Japan, I mean, it's amazing. They all do certain exercises in the morning. So when they start work, the management are in a position to get them into, so that they're flexible, they feel good, they're breathing properly, and they get hugs. So they feel loved, they feel cherished, they feel respected, and it's like making people feel that they appreciate your contribution. Do you think that is important, to bring in certain modalities to raise the frequency of what you're creating?
Yeah, you actually made a good point, Barrett, and that is, when we work together as a team, for example, like we breathe together. Sorry, the heating here is very dry. It scratches my throat. I got to get my water. Anyway, so what I want to say, when people get together, let's say as a team or as a company, they actually meditate together.
Oh, nice.
Breathe together. And I know there's some companies out there. It's just this Mind Valley. Probably know that company. I heard they have a meditation room. So in the morning, they all get together. It's $1 million company, very successful, but people meditate together. Yeah. And that is, imagine you start your day, everyone meditates and breathes, even if it's just a few minutes. Wow. That will raise the vibration already. Yeah, and then giving people smiles, actually acknowledging, thank you for being here. Yeah. That alone, thanking, instead of people just showing up and there's no acknowledgement, every single piece of the team gets acknowledged. They get a smile, they get everyone likes acknowledgement, because when we acknowledge people, when we thank people, that opens the heart. And then people actually feel better about themselves. They actually feel important. They feel more confident, and they're willing to go the extra mile. So it's a big piece of acknowledgement, meditating together, breathing together, maybe doing some movement together. There's even people that do some stretches in the morning together. I heard all kinds of things people do as teams, and that will support and providing them good nutrition instead of having junk food. get them
So
some fruits in and some
yeah,
good
yeah. I was
quality.
just gonna say, yeah, yeah, like rocket fuel, because like it's like if you know what's good for you and you have a certain recipe that's doing wonders for you,
Mhm.
you can bring that to the table. By the way, without sidetracking too much, at the moment I'm fascinated by copper,
Yes.
and I what's it called again, Katrina? In the garden, something culture, something electroculture. I've started last year, and I'm making some antennas and stuff for the plants. Apparently, you can improve the conductivity of your plants to flourish better using copper, but also with water. Apparently, it does wonders. Like I'm now opting to keep my water in a copper flask
Mhm.
opposed to a stainless steel one. Do you have any feedback on? Have you ever tried using copper as a
Actually,
way of?
I heard about copper, but I don't have anything
Okay,
with copper yet, but I heard about it. You made a good point.
yeah.
There's actually a guy, he's called Cultivate Elevate on, do you know him on Instagram? He has a lot of information on copper.
Oh, look him up. Yeah, no, it's fantastic, fantastic.
But yeah,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of things you can do with copper. And copper used to be, I heard, one of the most precious, but it's been very, um, what's it called,
yeah,
censored
yeah,
and kind of put down. But copper is supposed to be really one of those. They uplift the energy, the frequency of the water if you put it in copper. Also with your garden, and you can create all kinds of devices to support
yeah.
gardening. Yeah, so you're right on the money here,
Mm-hmm.
and I would look further into it. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it doesn't time fly when we're having fun?
Yes, and wow, an hour is almost gone. Yeah, wow.
I was going to say, do you want to add anything else to this incredible topic which we just discussed about the power of heart-centered leadership? I mean, we touched on some amazing stuff here today.
Well,
Uh,
one point I just want to quickly touch base on.
yeah,
Us leadership requires balance, which
right.
means sometimes we have to be strong, sometimes we have to be more soft, sometimes we gotta be vulnerable, sometimes this. So we have to be able to tune into whatever is required and learning to be balanced in ourselves, how we show up. Sometimes we require to be more still in our leadership. We need time for stillness and contemplation and reflection. Sometimes we need to take massive action, but we gotta have the balance, of these different polarities.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sabina. It's always a pleasure, honor to share space with you. And please continue doing what you're doing. You don't need my approval or validation, but if I may give you feedback, you're just so inspiring, very uplifting, and really enjoy watching your craft. You're so heart centered and very uplifting. So, from the bottom of my heart, and I speak for Katrina, my beautiful partner as well, she's very much inspired by your contribution. And thank you very much for
Thank
turning.
you, Barrett, for always the opportunity. It's always an honor, and nothing will stop what I'm going to share. It's like I'm on a mission now. Nothing can stop me. The information has to go out because, like you and me, we know we have the same mission. We're here
Yeah,
to empower people, to uplift, to enhance, to grow, to rise, because together we will rise. It's not just about one person, but it
yeah,
starts with one person. That's what it is. It starts with one person,
absolutely.
and that's how we create a ripple effect, which will
Yeah.
spread far and wide, and that's how we can
Yeah.
raise the frequency of this planet.
Absolutely, Sabina. Thank you so much. Yeah, because we're in the process of putting a radio channel together. In fact, we're having a very beautiful discussion tomorrow. We've got a few interesting, beautiful minded, heart-minded, centered souls coming together to finalize a few loose ends, and we should be by the end of next week, we should have it up and running. And I was going to say to you, if you would like a little slot to do what you're doing, it would be an honor to have your beautiful energy there, because that's what it's about, what we're doing as well. And that's all about harmonizing, neutralizing, raising the people's level of consciousness. And it's a bit like conscious radio, but it's for the people, by the people. And it's nobody has the right to own it, so it's not mine. It's for the people, and eventually, I'd like to see these channels appearing everywhere. So when we get this, let's say a hypothetical example, when we get, like, say 100,000 subscribers, it will have 100 subscribers to, let's say, 50, 60, 70 different radio channels. So the popularity, the merit of that credibility will be given out to people. I'm not charging money for this. I'm just giving it to people. It's a ready-made studio for people for the future. So why I'm doing it as well, because I want the level of journalism to be uncensored, to be unedited, for it to be raw. So I want it to be as it is, as natural as possible. And I think I speak for yourself here as well, because that's the way to be.
That's the only way. Natural is the only way.
and more of us are coming together in alliance now, Sabina, as well, because we were talking earlier about this as well, how how uplifted I am when I see you doing what you doing. I don't see you as a threat or anything like that. I feel so switched on to see your what you're broadcasting. So for me, it's phenomenal that I know that people like you exist. So thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll have you back in the very near future for another hot topic discussion of your choice. So I'm always available to invite you back on a subject that humanity likes to listen to and engage. And because our beautiful viewers out there, we appreciate and we take joy in sharing as much information as we can to help make a difference and to raise the game for everyone. So Sabina, you look after yourself, and
Thank you, Barrett. Thank you for all you do, and I'm always available to collaborate in any way, and always available for hot topics. Never anything called hot. I'm here for anything hot.
Yeah, you take care and keep smiling. Beautiful smile. Yeah.
Thank you. Lots of love to everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bioactivator would like to thank you for your kind support and donations. Through Barrett Tunian's guardianship of this platform, his activation of truth harmonizes, neutralizes, and unblocks the meridians that connect, balance, and purify all that comes in contact. Do no harm is the key that fully opens the heart's voice to be in the union of the I Am presence, and will represent every living organism on the planet whose voice would otherwise not be heard. Remember, the truth will set you free. Do no harm, cause no loss, and do not impose upon the freedom of others. Love, light, and